If I could pour bleach on my brain, I would. But Alice, you should stop reading fucking boring books. Because this book was like choking on a spike. 30 is the worst years of your life. Remember that, kids. Hi, welcome back. A tragedy has occurred. I have lost my tiny mic. I don't know what it is, and I'm very sad about it. I was very attached to my tiny mic. But today we're here for all the books that I've read in the month of January. January was a very stressful month. I was preparing for my exams, which meant I was procrastinating reading my assignments. So I read something totally different. I should have read so many engineering textbooks, which I read at the end. But I read, how many books? 14! So I'm going to do this chronologically. First, I finished P.S. I Still Love You. Yes, I finished it like at 1 a.m. On New Year's Eve. Because I had nothing to do while preparing like things for my friends. And then later in the month, I read and finished the trilogy with Always and Forever Lara Jean. I think those are what they're called. Terrible books. The first one was kind of fun and compelling, and then you go into the second and third one and we start to talk about sex and relationship. And these books, I didn't notice the first time around when I read them because I was younger, but these books were the source of some of my anxieties around relationship because they suffer from American Puritanism. If you dig deep enough into these books, there's like a well of purity culture around sex and relationship, and it tries to give you some advice on how to navigate as a young woman, but please do not follow those advice. Those are terrible advice. People in these books are stupid and they give terrible advice, especially Lara Jean's friend, which I don't remember her name. She was like the worst friend in the world. So I gave them, I think, 2 and 1 star. The last one was terrible, like really terrible. Then I read what I think is going to be one of the best books of the year. I'm going to say it right now. I picked it up on a whim because I was in a mood for sci-fi and gay little astronauts. I read The Darkness Outside Us. What a book. What a book. So they sell it to you as a gay rom-com in space. It is not. Who came up with that? This is a survivalist story in space, and it's really heart-wrenching. Yes, there's a queer love story between 2 men from opposing factions, but it's like not the point of the story. The point of the story is survivalism, and also they think about life a lot, about human life as a species, and it's really heart-wrenching and beautiful, and I loved every minute of it. I really liked it. If I could give it 6 stars, I would. I cried like a little baby, and I was around my parents and they were like, why are you so sad? Like, this book. Then I was still around my parents. I read Happy Hour by Marlowe Granados. This one I read because Jack from Jack Edwards, the booktuber, put it in his favorites list for the year 2022. I was like, I am really interested in this. And this book is funny because I think the first part where you kind of don't know who the true protagonist is. So there's Isa and a friend, and her friend really wants to be a protagonist in the first part. And funnily enough, the first part, I think, was not edited at all. The writing was so bad, like not objectively bad, but then you read on where Isa truly becomes the protagonist of her own story. It's her journal, her diary, and it's so much better. And I don't know if the first part was part of a short story that the author wrote a long time before writing the next part. It felt like a book divided in 2, like the true good book and an introduction that should have not been there. So I think I gave it 3 stars. Controversial, I read Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I really loved this book in the beginning. I don't know why Dolly Alderton is so obsessed with being young, and she's so scared about turning 30, and apparently turning 30 is a sign of being miserable in life. She tries to tell you that she at the end is not scared and there was just like societal imposition on her, but it does not come out as that. It comes out as, I know I should not be scared, but I'm scared. I am turning into an old hag, and 30 is the worst years of your life. Remember that, kids. So yeah, that was weird. It was also kind of depressing at times because she goes through a lot, and it's told in a way that gives levity to the story, which I don't think was the most apt writing style for those really tough parts. So I gave it 3 stars. I was really interested. It was very readable. The last part about, you know, being in your 30s, terrible, terrible advice. Okay, so I read Dark Age. I bought this copy from the dark web, and it came as a library copy, which, you know, has like a library card, and it was very torn up, but I bought it like for like very cheap. Tell me why Dan Brown wants me dead. He wants me choked on a spike, because this book was like choking on a spike. You know, my heart was like, goodbye. I don't want to live here anymore in your chest and pay rent. I don't want to do that anymore. I've read this series. This is the 5th book in the Red Rising series that is composed of a trilogy and now a quartet. This is the book where everything goes wrong. The title is out, Dark Age. So I'm not going to give you spoilers, but nobody stays dead and everybody dies. That's genius, trademark. I gave this book 4 stars. It was so good. Not to the heights of Golden Sun, but I cannot wait for Red God. Oh my god. It's the, you know, the next book is going to come out in a few months. I'm so excited. The next 3 books, I have a reading vlog all about them, and it's the Folk of the Air series. So The Cruel Prince, The Wicked King, and The Queen of Nothing. I read them all in 3 days. They were so readable. I gave the first one 4 stars. It was a solid fantasy. You know, I really like the political intrigue. I am a sucker for that. Also, I love how Jude really hated Cardan. I love a hate story. I'm just, you know, a hater at heart. The second book is when I think Holly Black became allergic to descriptions, which means that the book was so short, the action was so fast, like too fast for my liking. But I really liked, you know, again, the political intrigue and also the blooming love story, even though they still hated each other, which, I love those stories. Enemies to lovers, but they stay enemies. And I gave the last book, surprisingly, 4.25 stars. It was my favorite. I really, really liked the 3rd book, which felt a more complete stories than the 2nd book. And I don't know, I really liked how the story ended. I know that everybody kind of hates the last book in comparison to the first one and second one, but I am the black sheep of the reading community. If you see me making this face, it's because the next book is going to be a rant. I hated this book. It was one of the worst things that I've ever read. And it's not problematic. It's not egregiously bad, but it bored me to tears. This book had so much potential and it wasted it all on a fucking stupid romance. The book in question is I miei giorni alla libreria Morisaki in Italian, or My Days at the Morisaki Library or Bookshop. I don't know what the title is in English. I'm going to put it right here. Tell me why. The book title is about a library, a bookshop, and we spend 30 pages in total at said bookshop. The story is not about the protagonist, the story is about her stupid fucking aunt that lies about everything and I hate her. She lies about her life, she lies about her love story, she lies about her injuries and illnesses, and I fucking hate her. I hated this book. Nothing is consequential. Things happen and they don't resolve. Everything happens for a reason in books. You cannot just make things happen at random. This was boring, it got nowhere, it said nothing. You know what it said? It said, Alice, you should stop reading fucking boring books. I hated that book. I hated it so much. I want it gone from my memory. If I could pour bleach on my brain, I would. And then I read another disappointing book. I read Deceived by the Gargoyles, which should have been a fun, monster romance about a polyamory couple. No, this was a boring book about boring people. There was one single brain cell in this book. You know who had it? A secondary character. And I know for sure that she left it at a ballet that she mentions constantly. The protagonist is boring, she's stupid, completely, an idiot. And the three gargoyles that thirst over her, complete fucking idiots, aside from Broderick. Broderick, I love you. If you want another mate in your relationship, I'm available. I mean, I'm not, I have a boyfriend, but he would be, open to a gargoyle, a sexy gargoyle. Yeah, 2 stars, it was fucking awful. Oh yeah, I gave the Morisaki Library Bookshop 1 star. If I could give it 0 stars, I would. But we end on a wonderful note. I decided on a whim to listen to the audiobook for the first novella in the Tensore series. This book, tell me why it's so good. It is impeccable. The narrator was so good in Italian. I'm very sorry, but the Italian narrator, sublime, top tier. This is a fantasy story set in a mix between an ancient Chinese and Japanese world. We follow twins. They are the kids of this very powerful woman that simply ruled the country. And one of them can see into the future and the other one is very practical. And the thing about this book that I love so much, that brought me so much peace as a non-binary person, is that up until you're of age or later in life, you're not assigned a gender at birth. You can be whatever you want. And then you do a ceremony in which you can choose to be a male, a female, or remain, unclaimed and do whatever the fuck you want. This would be my dream if I could just see a person and be like, yeah, I'm still undecided. I don't know what I am. I am whatever the fuck I am. And that person should be like, yes, sure. And for the people who were maybe born female, biologically and want to be considered male, they're given free, gender-affirming surgeries, all in one. It's so comforting to have these things that are so simple to put into a story, like a fantasy story. It's so comforting. And the plot moves a lot faster because it's a novella, but I really liked it. I really, really liked it. The characters are crafted with so much love, and I cannot wait to read the second book, which is about the twin that can see into the future. Yeah, it was a good novella. Yeah, these are the only 2 physical books that I can show for it, but I read a lot of books in this month. It was a good month. I'm still in the middle of my exam, so I'm still completely stressed, and it's a time to be alive. But I'll see you next month. Hopefully, I have a very interesting video planned, which involves not The Cruel Prince, but something in, that series. So if you want to see that, I'll see you in the next one. Please tell me what was your favorite book that you read this month, and if you want to connect or tell me on my socials, I have them there down below. So I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye! Mwah! Mwah!